The government says digital ID cards will make Britain safer and help tackle illegal immigration. But is that really the truth? Because here's the thing. We already tried this before when Tony Blair was Prime Minister. He sort of got it through as well. ID cards were made voluntary at first, when you got new passports. But even then, uptake was tiny and it ultimately failed. It failed because they were expensive, confusingly justified, technically flawed, and widely opposed as a civil liberties threat. When the Conservatives' Lib Dem coalition came to power in 2010, scrapping ID cards was one of their first symbolic acts. Then Home Secretary Theresa May repealed the Identity Cards Act of 2006, destroyed the database and physically incinerated the biometric data. The scheme was portrayed as wasteful, intrusive and unwanted and politically toxic to keep. Sounds familiar. So why is this being pushed again by Keir Starmer? Is this really about fighting immigration and fraud? Or is it everything to do with control? A working paper by the IMF found that as firms become more digital, better ID, more online processes, tax revenues as a share of GDP increase significantly. History also proves digitisation isn't just about convenience, it's about cash. When Gordon Brown digitised stamp duty, tax receipts jumped almost overnight. It jumped 40% within 2 years. When Brazil digitised its VAT with electronic invoicing, compliance surged and billions more flowed into the treasury. Look at India. When they rolled out digital tax filing tied to digital ID, government revenue shot up almost immediately. Revenue collections grew by 11 to 12% year on year over those first years. Governments know that when you digitise identity and transactions, the money follows. My belief is that's why Keir Starmer is pushing so hard for digital ID, to increase government revenues ultimately. So let's talk about what even is digital ID. Let's be clear about what we're talking about here. A digital ID is a centralised database where, and this is what has been proposed so far by government, where it will be centralised database where name, date of birth, information on nationality or residency status and a photo will be held in one place. But of course, as you can see, there is a consultation period to consider if additional things are going to be thrown in. The justification from government argue for this, the justification from government right now to justify this is threefold. One, immigration work checks. It will be legally required for employees to check your digital ID before hiring you, with the argument that this will make it harder for people without the right to live here to actually work. Two, access to services, from applying for childcare, housing support or benefits to even renting a property or opening a bank account. Ministers say it will streamline the identity check process, reduce fraud and waiting times. Thirdly, convenience. Instead of juggling passport, driving license, utility bills, council tax letters, the idea is that one app on your phone proves who you are instantly. So on the surface, these reasons sound pretty sensible, but notice how each one also extends the reach of the state into your everyday life. Once a system like this exists, it becomes very easy to add more requirements, like linking in to health records, travel, even your ability to vote. That's why opponents call it the start of a control infrastructure, a system that might begin with immigration and benefits, but could easily expand into every part of daily life. So, why does Keir Starmer say we need it?
Today, I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
Keir Starmer's pitch is that digital ID will help stop illegal immigration. The logic is if every worker must show a digital ID, illegal migrants won't be able to get jobs. But this logic falls apart instantly when you consider we already have legal requirements for employers to check passports, birth certificates, or share sort of codes, ID codes. Those who hire illegal workers already ignore the rules. A shiny new ID card won't change that. And let's be blunt, the government already knows who many illegal immigrants are because thousands are housed in hotels at taxpayer expense. The real problem is enforcement, not identification. So why frame it as immigration? Because politically, it's the one justification that can win support across both Labour and Conservative voters. That's, I imagine, the logic. It's a sales pitch. It's not the real reason. So what is the real upside for the government here? Why push this so hard? Well, one, it's control of access. Once you need an ID to work, to rent, to access services, the government holds the keys. That infrastructure can then be used to reward behaviour it likes and restrict behaviour it doesn't. Think about lockdowns. 1 walk a day. Imagine if every movement was linked to your digital card. Second is revenue and enforcement. The Home Office fines companies that hire illegal workers. With a mandatory ID system like this, those fines, up to £60,000 each time, could become a steady revenue stream for them. Thirdly, data centralisation. At the moment, your health records are separate from your tax records. Your bank account is separate from your immigration status. Digital ID makes it far easier for governments or even third-party contractors to link it all together. That's efficient for them, but a major security risk for you. And four, global trend. So Britain isn't alone with this. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Switzerland, all pushing similar schemes. Tony Blair has openly championed digital ID for years through his think tank, which is funded by major tech firms. This isn't just about one party. It's an ideology. It's technocracy. So let's step back. Digital ID is being sold as common sense. It will cut fraud, stop illegal work, make your life easier. But history shows us all that once governments centralise identity, they rarely stop there. Tony Blair tried this. It failed because the public rejected it as wasteful and intrusive project. Now, 2 decades later, Keir Starmer is betting that if he links it to immigration, people will somehow accept it. But ask yourself, is this really about migrants, or is it about building the ultimate control infrastructure? Is this about making your life easier or making it easier for the state to track, tax, and control you? This is why almost 3 million people have already signed petitions against it. Because once the system exists, it's not going to be rolled back. I just don't understand how Keir Starmer is doing such a good job at losing public support and popularity. What do you think? Is this a necessary step for security or a dangerous erosion of liberty? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment.